continue right on. We've been looking at some of the papers that Mohamed has written, and I'm going to continue to introduce them, the abstract and perhaps a little bit more. I don't think we had covered this one. Casimir Dark Energy Nano Reactor Design Proposal based on Fractal. The present paper utilizes the theory of fractal spheres packing as linked to transfinite set theory and nanotechnology in order to develop a conceptual design for a nano Casimir reactor. One of our main fundamental theoretical results is that quantum space-time has a latent intrinsic topological pressure equal to the inverse of the Hausdorff dimension of the core space. This leads us to the conclusion that the zero-point energy of the vacuum has many manifestations a part of the Casimir effect, including dark energy, Unruh temperature, as well as Hawking's negative energy fluctuation. In fact, invoking Witten's T-duality, it is obvious to conclude that what we call Casimir energy on the very small quantum and nanoscale is what we observe indirectly on the very large Hubble cosmic scale and call dark energy. In a nutshell, the pragmatic engineering part of present work is motivated by a simple fact known to all those who work in nanotechnology, namely that the Casimir forces are a spurious, unwanted effect in the design of all sorts of nano gadgets. By contrast, we aim here to amplify the Casimir effect using E-infinity theory to become a Casimir reactor. As for the deep theoretical part of the present paper, it is in the first line a Witten's T-duality demonstration that the local, very small-scale Casimir effect is basically nothing but the very large Hubble cosmic scale dark energy.
Yes, let me regress and modify what you said, that we are friends. We are not friends. We are something else. It's identity of the spirit which brought us together.
Mm-hmm.
We are so different facets of the same love to science, art, and philosophy in the global sense. And that is much stronger than friendship and much stronger than brotherhood, where a brother killed his brother, for instance, Abel and her. So I think once you got this virus of the truth and virus of science, art, and philosophy, then you can really talk about the true brotherhood of man. Now, coming back to the paper, I'm sorry for my voice. We spoke about the same thing, but from different point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bird eye view, and there's this microscopic, enlarged view of the very small. At the very end, if we can get out of all what we talked yesterday and the day before yesterday and today and in the future, if we just realize that you cannot have a conversation, meaningful conversation, with somebody without misunderstanding, without really being from the same language group, and you master the language, and whoever you are discussing with him, any subject, masters the same language. It's very difficult, although it's European language, for a Frenchman who doesn't know English, an Englishman who doesn't speak French, except a few words, merci, au revoir, je vous aime. Now, to meaningful, without misunderstanding, speak together. Now, the same situation is with nature. When you want to understand about what is nature all about. And nature is very capricious, beautiful lady. And she doesn't give all her secret so easily. She will have to feel comfortable with you first. You have to speak the same language. Otherwise, your advance will be considered an attack on her. Then she become even more
and you will be
closed.
spurned.
Exactly. Nature just happened, and now we can discuss this for years with pencil and mathematics and logic and all sophisticated, exact tools of exact science. Nature speaks the language of the golden mean number system. If you don't talk to nature in the same way, nature will not answer you back. And interrogating nature or talking with nature or chatting with nature will lead to nothing. Once we got that, everything else is just tautology. It's the same, we're talking about the very same thing.
Is it tautology, you said? Yes.
Yes. The philosophy of saying the same thing in different words, which mean at the end the same. So really, that's it. And it was amazing for me. And science should have stopped and thought about everything the moment a Dutch engineer working in Philips. In a time, of course, people are busy with Hitler and all this unnecessary thing which happened in history. And he found, would bring a plate, 2 plates, uncharged, no electric charge on it, no magnetic charge, nothing whatsoever. 2 totally neutral plate. And they come very near to each other, a distance which should not exceed nano distances. I don't know exactly how much. Suddenly, they clap. What pushed them? There is nothing. There is no air. There is no atom outside. There is nothing. It's an absolute vacuum, uncharged plate. In this moment, I think science should have started rethinking everything fundamental. That will not change how we build houses or how we do cars or anything. Maybe in the gadgets, which are so small, electromagnetic gadgets.
And what was the name of the scientist?
Henrik Casimir.
Casimir.
And he's Dutch, working in Philips. A very normal job, but he was curious. And he did not overlook this incredible phenomena. That totally empty vacuum, which we call nothing, can produce forces which go and push 2 plates together out of nothing. Out of nothing in our common language. But there is something. Then, somehow, because everything is compartmented, those who think of cosmology have nothing to do with electrodynamic, or those who are working in radio technology have nothing to do with this. Everyone is living in his small, isolated world. It is important that a lot of people do this. Otherwise, we can't, as a human being, we can't have everything in our brain and do everything at the same time. But at the same time, there must be some people who look at the larger picture. For instance, like you look at a larger picture, far larger than me. That's why I didn't understand you many years ago. How can you give so much importance in science for the golden mean? But at that time, I didn't know about the work of Hardy. At that time, I was not deep into Casimir effect. But when you look to all these things, then you wonder why they were astonished to see that instead the word is collapsing, shrinking, it is expanding. And there is a force pushing it. And that they cannot measure this force because there is nothing there. Yet, indirectly, they measure it. It is much simpler than that. Mm-hmm. If I take a piece of paper, a strip of paper, and I twist it and draw a line on this piece of paper, you will discover this piece of paper doesn't have two faces, one inside and one outside. It has only one face. Mm-hmm. It's well known since long. Mm-hmm. Mobius strip. Mm-hmm. August Mobius, a German mathematician, discovered that. It have only an inside and outside. Now, let's know nothing about science. We know only two things. We know about the Casimir effect, but we take it serious. And we know about Mobius strip, that there are surfaces which have an inside but no outside, mm-hmm. or vice versa. Mm-hmm. There's an outside but, but meaningless what is inside and what outside when it's only one surface. So I have two plates in the Casimir effect. So where it comes doesn't matter. There's nothing outside, push it. But for the two plate, there is an inside the plate, and there is an outside. So no problem here. Imagine that this is happening at infinity. And at infinity, the border of our universe is a more complicated, a higher dimension form of the Mobius strip. Mm-hmm. It is something which have an inside but have no outside. Obviously, when the two plates in the Casimir effect hit each other like that, there is a force outside stronger than the force inside. So the difference makes them hit each other like that. But at infinity, if the same effect accumulated and become more and more and more and more at infinity, there is only an inside. So you have a pressure which is not counterbalanced by anything from the outside. Mm-hmm. So the normal thing is to go on expanding. Mm-hmm. From this trivial consideration, I deduce then in a more complex way that locally we have a Casimir effect and globally we have the expansion effect of the one-sided end of our universe. And outside really, from that, you don't have even empty space, which we call nothing. You have nothing at all to talk about. There is nothing. This is the true Martin Heidegger, Jean-Paul Sartre, nothingness, mm-hmm. which I started long ago when I was only interested in philosophy because I was fed up with engineering. I had to study engineering because my father said so. And since I'm a good boy, I always done what my father wanted, even if I didn't want it.